Hello guys, I am Risk Endeavors, and today we've successfully done Tourney Night 2. That's basically what we're doing right now, is we're commentating. I'm going to introduce everyone. We're having a bit of an aftermath commentary on the tournament night in of itself. This is the second tournament night, and we're going to commentate on everything. So without further ado, let's introduce ourselves. Jampoint first.
Oh, hi. I'm Jampoint. I'm still trying. I don't know what to say. Hi, I guess.
Alright, Sylvian.
Hi, I'm Sylvian. I'm the only person on the whole server who's willing to play Demo Man. Just saying.
And then Snurfo.
Wait, I thought we were just going to demo. Oh, fuck it. It's probably different on my end. Hi, yes, this is Snurfell. You may know me from, like, VR chat as that one asshole that plays with the fat dragon. Anyways, hi, I played in this tournament.
And last but not least.
I'm Frostbite, or Walter Clements, or Smooth Duck, or whatever you want to call me. I play Manpower. Yeah, I don't know.
We're starting on the map High Pass, and this is the first 4 matches we did. The first one was a little bit of a hiccup, which is why we did 4 of them instead of 3, but nevertheless, we're still going to watch these 4 matches. And without further ado, let's get started. Let's commentate on like how all of these matches went, like for these Koth maps. These Koth maps were my favorite.
It went alright for us.
Is this the first one out of 4 or the
best.
second one out of 4?
Eventually.
This was the first one out of 4.
I'll just go down the list of people to talk. So Jampoint, you first. What are your thoughts about these maps in particular, the Koth matches?
Honestly, I think Koth has been the best, and I honestly want to experiment more with other maps. Like, this one was probably the most fun I had in. I mean, I don't even know what else to say about it other than, yeah, more Koth maps, please. Yeah, look, that's a Koth map. That's pretty good. Alright, you guys, you other guys can say stuff because I don't have anything interesting to say.
Should I?
Oh, and
Okay, so
we lost this first match. Yeah, I'm remembering this now.
Yeah, I think this was the one
I
where.
went AFK in the beginning of it.
This was like the match that was supposed to be official, but was kind of bumpy, and we agreed to do another set of rounds. So I think the next.
Yeah,
We were
so
kind of
basically-
yelling at Shund at this time.
Overall, my take on the Koth maps was it couldn't have gone better, minus the point where I crashed. But that's something for later. But I honestly think that it was a lot of fun with the grapple hooks. And like this part was probably the most well done out of the other 2 maps that we were on.
Yeah.
Surfoil, what's your
Koth maps
thoughts?
work really well for just... Yeah, basically, Koth maps and, like, grapple hook-based gameplay, it's the bread and butters of, like, Manpower, and it's good if you just want to have some skill-based fighting. Because all the game mode really does is it centralizes all the fighting on one singular area. You don't have to worry about all these different flank routes of fucking people capping intel. Also, maybe I shouldn't swear on stream. I don't know.
Imagine getting dominated by a mini sentry.
That's what I'm thinking.
Dude. That's
This
almost a
meme was
reality.
made by Demonetization Man Gang.
I'm just trying to get different camera pans sometimes, but
But yeah, in terms of like Koth maps, I found it like Koth definitely was the best mix. I really liked the way that like it just felt like really like I don't know how to explain it. It was just such a good balance of like different like flanks, and you had to watch everyone's back, like call outs had to constantly be thrown out and all that. Like it was just everything felt like just right for me. I don't really know how to explain it.
Yeah,
but it just
I might have something that can help sort of explain that. One thing I noticed about this map in particular, there are a lot of good areas that you can actually launch yourself off of with the grappling hook.
yeah, that's true.
Namely,
Yeah,
those
that's-
2 giant cinder blocks right there. Very easy to
grapple
like,
hook.
you know, you just sling yourself off of there, you crouch so that way you don't hit the actual block, and then you can just go flying.
Like the
As this is a lot of
grapple
open
hook
area,
was-
there's a lot of room for flying around.
Oh yeah. Like with the engineer
Yeah.
and your pyro, they were constantly getting like around us with that. Like they were constantly
Look at him
flanking us
suck.
and behind us. Same with your heavy at some points. It was just it worked. It's really good.
It gets to a point where it's like every single class, because of the grapple hook, can sort of flank like that effectively. So you
Yeah.
really have to watch out for basically anything that the other
Comes from
team
the
can
sky.
throw at you, because like if you're not paying attention, you have to look up in order to not just instantly get killed by something completely out of the blue here. Because
Yeah, man, it's
you
a
don't
3D
know, like,
game.
there could be a spy dropping down, there could be a heavy, like, there's basically limitless possibilities on what you can do when you have that mobility mastered.
I most definitely agree. I like the 5v5 format that we had, mainly because the callouts, it just wasn't as chaotic.
Yeah,
Would you guys agree
Don't worry
that
about as many people.
yeah.
it was a lot more easier to get messages across than when we did the Highlander one last week, I find.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. That's yeah, like a mess. Like it was a lot less messy, and people were like hearing each other out, and everyone was like, you know, they were communicating. Everyone heard what was being said, and I think, you know, in terms of communications, I think everyone did really well there.
I'll say from the first tournament night, one of the things that stressed me out was the communications. Everyone was calling stuff out, and we didn't have really any we didn't have a specific motion with our, or I don't know what I'm saying. We didn't have coordination with our communication, is what I'm trying to say, and there was just a bunch of spam, and that kind of frustrated me a little bit because I just didn't know who
It's
to listen
overwhelming.
to. Yeah,
For
it
the
was
first one?
overwhelming.
Yeah.
But
So it's kind of like it was more of an overwhelming thing for you,
Yeah.
where it was a lot of people at once.
yeah, exactly. A lot of info at once, but with less players, like a 5v5, there was less callouts to be put, and there was more important callouts. So I wasn't stressed out at all. I think this was perfect callout wise. I didn't feel frustrated at all about the comms.
Yeah, I think with team chemistry, like the way it worked with our teams kind of communicating, it kind of worked.
Oh yes, this was the part where
Teams, I don't know, in a 5v5 format, especially like since it was kind of like we didn't have any prior like get-togethers or anything with our team, I feel like it worked out a lot better this way, where it wasn't as chaotic with everyone, like so many people trying to figure out like each other's play styles. We all kind of just, I don't know, we figured each other out pretty quickly, I guess. Like, we all just kind of, I don't know, blended together. I don't know how to explain it very well, but
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk for a bit about the medics themselves. Like, what do you guys think was the best Uber, or what do you guys think was the best medigun to be used in the Koth matches? Like,
it's very. I think it's
Probably
dependent. I
Vaccinator.
think it's Vaccinator, kind of, but like for stock, I feel like for certain pushes and like block offs, like stock all the way. But at the same time, Vaccinator is good for like. The other team really took me out with Vac at some points, like especially when I was using Brass Beast.
yeah.
So yeah, I think it's like in between stock and Vaccinator.
yeah, like really the resistances are invaluable, but at the same time having that full invincibility can also be great in other situations. So it is kind of situational on which one's better, per se, but I feel like either one was a really good choice with it.
We could even see in these clips right here, Jampoint was running the regular Uber medigun, while Team Crisis over here
Lag was running
Vaccinator.
Vax.
Yeah, so we get to see a perfect like matchup between the two. As we can see
It was
right here,
pretty
we're rolling into
equal
the
throughout.
third match.
There's the part where I got the double pipe.
Which one seemed which
was
one
zooming
seemed
on the
to be
edge.
the most useful in these situations? Do you guys?
I feel like, yes, stock was good in those particular pushes, but I feel like overall the Vaccinator's more versatile.
Yeah, definitely.
Vaccinator
You
was
can
more
say so to an
versatile, but
extent, yeah.
I personally like
It's
the
just
medigun.
like, you know. Yeah, same here. Just because, like, I
Yeah.
prefer having all of that. Like, I don't having the idea of focusing on one resistance at like a time. I don't know. Like personally, I like having that full Uber because at some points during the match, we kind of took back the point based on that Uber alone, kind of scaring the enemy off somewhat. With Vaccinator, I just feel like I don't feel so comfortable with it at some points. If that makes any sense, like I just don't feel as.
I don't even know how it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that sort of spot up there.
Hello.
That one room there. I found that that's a really nice place for sticky traps. So I did find that like just overall that's a great place to camp in that balcony there.
And see, look at this, the Uber right there.
Yeah, that's probably what ended up winning you that round.
Yeah, exactly. Because I
So-
like having it on there. Just kind of
Oh, there's me under the bridge.
establish that control completely. You know, like.
Yeah. Uber is like the perfect way to just give out free damage without having to worry about losing health yourself. And it forces them to like either run or ignore you, but then they'll get punished because they'll get hurt. Just stuff you can't normally do with Vaccinator, even with the Uber on the Vax and all of that. Plus you just have to be like really skilled with the Vaccinator. And that's if people aren't running like explosives, and like the counter to Vaccinator is just running various types of damage types. Like if you have a soldier and a pyro going after him at the same time, one of them's gonna damage him without that damage resistance.
Yeah. One thing I actually will say about this particular moment is that my team asked me to switch over to heavy, but I was having a hard time securing a couple of frags when I got to the front, mostly because my medic was like a little bit absent at that point. Once my medic paired up with me, I was able to actually like, take it.
Mm-hmm. And CIC, yeah, you're here defending that point. You
Yeah.
guys were good at like... You guys were good at taking back the point and having good control over it for a bit, and like leveraging that with your mini sentry. You guys were good at establishing a really good strong hold for the times that you did.
Yeah, it's kind of what you do.
Nice soldier over there. Sometimes we had our mini sentry. I think Herf was running a mini sentry, but just less aggressive because I didn't see our mini sentry that much. I
Yeah,
would run.
Gunzer was like really, really aggressive with the sentry placement, and I feel like that was a key factor in us taking a point in some games.
Yeah.
Oh, there I go.
Gunzer really did well with his mini sentry. Like it halted our team. I could feel it. It halted
did.
me personally. It really halted my ability to capitalize on them. So it forced me to go
Yeah.
spy, and well, it was actually their undoing because once I recognized that spy wasn't incompetent in this mode with grappling hooks, I would continue to play him for the majority of the matches. In fact, we'll talk about spy in a little
We're a
bit.
nuisance.
We'll t-
Bro,
And just
the
the
mini
thing-
sentry- oh,
Gunzer did all of this without using the Wrangler, which arguably I would think is Engineer's most overpowered weapon.
Yeah.
So just imagine if he was using the Wrangler, how much more chaos that would have caused.
Yeah, absolutely. The reason I'm panned over to this side of the camera is because there was a lot of focus happening on the bottom, as you can see that area right there where Snurfoil is. You guys on Team Crisis really liked that spot. And I think toward the end of the last match or something, I got a bit of a chain stab in there because I knew you guys were all going into there.
yeah, you guys kind of at some points you guys kind of came into the same spot like at once. Like I
Yeah.
feel like at some points the heads came in
And
the same
I'm pretty
spot.
sure this is where my game crashed.
For me,
Yeah, there it is. I timed
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
For most points during the match, what I did though, as heavy, was I tried to establish control like right on the point and try and hold like those areas on the center, because like the engineer and the pyro were huge problems as flanks. Like they were very, very aggressive, and the engineers mini sentries were very good. They like used them to distract us over and over again, and it worked like a charm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, wait, hold up. What? I saw that. I saw that. Okay.
So what?
Let's talk about Spy in this map. What were your guys' experiences on Spy? Like, did any of you guys go Spy on Team Crisis?
No, I'm pretty sure up until the fourth and final round on this map, I basically stuck as Demo Man for the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think you guys ran Spy on your team.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't. I feel like
Sniper for
if
that
you
matter,
did,
which
I would have
probably
been.
is why our heavies were just
Honestly, I feel like in retrospect, I probably could have / should have switched to Spy, but
I was honestly expecting you guys to switch to Spy like throughout the match, because like that would have probably threw me off so hard, especially when you have the pyro and all that. Like a Spy on this map, especially with how many stabs on the heavy and the medic that Risk was getting throughout the match, and how many like I feel like on this map, Spy is definitely like a key factor if you want to like really take down a push or really like try and establish control quickly.
And I see you guys. Is this the last match?
I
This
think
map, yes, I think so.
yeah.
Either that or it's the match before the
No.
one where we decided that
saying that.
to do another one.
Interesting.
Here's the final match.
Okay.
There we go.
I think you guys disappear
Oh
when
right,
you're off
that
my
was
screen.
just the little intermission thing because I still had to reconnect and stuff.
Oh. Okay, so like, is this starting again?
Yeah, this is the
I think so.
actual thing starting.
I think this is the last match. If I'm.
Yes, this
I'm not wrong.
is.
Oh yeah, I remember I saved you, Frostbite,
You
on that one.
saved
You were
my
about
ass.
to
I was
die
about to
by
say,
heavy
you
tonight.
saved my ass there. I was like 2 HP. I was
Oh
like,
yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
I just hear Frostbite.
remember
Like,
that.
thank you for that save.
I was like,
medic.
hell yeah, I got you.
I thought I was so dead though. Jeez.
Yeah, like in retrospect, I feel like I definitely should have switched to Spy, though it wasn't something that I had at mind at this point.
My opinion on.
Engineer.
Hold up. Is that?
A spray.
It's more like a spray.
Yes, a spray. That's right. I'm losing my vocabulary as we speak. My opinion on Spy,
Same.
if I will. I played Spy mainly. I mainly played Spy for all of these maps, and I gotta say, at the start, I thought that Spy wasn't a very viable class to play in this kind of competitive environment without power-ups. But the reason I went Spy in the
Especially when
first
I
place,
exist.
yeah, the reason I went Spy in the first place was to just stop Gunzer from taking control of our team like that. Like, he was a nuisance, to say in the most positive way. But yeah, he was being a nuisance, and I felt responsible that like I needed to take care of that mini sentry issue, and I think it worked out well because I was getting a lot of saps on this mini sentry and just shutting it down. Like, from your guys' perspective, having a Spy sapping the mini sentry, what was that? Did that help?
I don't think I even know.
It doesn't really matter per se because like it's a mini sentry. He can always just slam another one down in like a millisecond.
That's true. If I followed him
also,
around,
like-
I could like sap his mini sentries. I don't know if I actually did follow him around though. I think I was just roaming.
My personal take on Spy in this game mode is like he's manageable, though if like not kept in check, he was an inconvenience, I would say. But still somewhat manageable.
Yeah, I definitely had a hard time stabbing you guys in particular, and I was more focused on just getting the saps and getting some key picks if I can, and also just staying alive. Like, I found the Dead Reener surprisingly more useful than the Invis Watch. I used that the most in this kind of a
Really?
match was simply because I
Yeah.
would fly in and if the window of opportunity was there, I'd go in for a stab, and if it wasn't, I'd just hold out my Dead Reener, and then boom, I'm safe. The only counter to that was grappling, and Gunzer did that a bit. Legspeed did that a bit as a medic. The one counter for me was you guys just simply grappling onto me, especially if I have Dead Reener. Like, there's no real counter against that because if someone's grappled onto you and you just use the Dead Reener, what's that gonna do? Because they're still hooked onto you.
Nothing.
So
That's kind of the reason why I don't usually run Dead Ringer.
I'm kind of surprised you guys didn't grapple me as much as you
Well,
did.
here's the thing. I usually know better than to grapple you when you're playing Spy
Yeah.
because I have been tricked quite a few times in that instance.
Yeah, that's
Although
true.
it's not impossible to land a kill on you that way. It's just not very advisable.
I see.
Really about the player, really. Like, I feel like it's about the spy themselves in a lot of ways, about how manageable they can be and, like, how you should.
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
And also knowing
Like,
whether or
it-
not they are able to go for it.
Like
Yeah, exactly. Like, their competence, really.
I've always held one of. I have some manpower rules that I keep to myself. One of them is that you should never grapple a spy that knows what he's doing, or at least a spy that can Matador. If a spy can't do
Yeah.
that, then go ahead and grapple them all you want. Even then, though, like hit reg and all of that stuff, it's very easy for them to even get a luck stab on you. I think we've
At
lost
least
a
when
number.
they have the
There you go.
footing. Even if the spy knows what doing, if they don't have proper footing, it's going to be a little bit harder for them to actually strafe.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
noticed.
Oh yeah, like if you grapple a spy in the air, he's done. He's dead. If you time it right and just
Yeah.
grapple him while he's in the air, it's done. Or if you catch him like cloaked, he can't stab you while he's cloaked. Anyways, though, we're
Yeah.
wrapping up the match here. I think, yeah, we're wrapping up the match. We have a little bit of the. I think it's like one more minute
then
left of this demo
And now
file.
I'm using grass speed.
So, any final thoughts about Koth maps as we're wrapping up this final match?
Oh, I would say
Okay, good.
by
Continue.
far the best part of the whole out of the whole tournament itself, I'd say by far the best part of it were the Koth maps, purely because it just feels like Koth
And
with
that's a
the
match.
grapple hooks just works so well, because like it adds that new sort of challenge and opportunities, if you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Those are pretty good.
Okay, we're moving on to our next demo file. This one is the next two maps. Where were they again? It was on Sunshine, 5CP Sunshine.
Yeah. Sometime.
I also
The
sent you
two
my version if
shortest
you wanna use
matches in
those.
the whole thing.
So
Yep.
Because
This round was crazy. This round was actually like a really, really fast round.
this
We
was
got
very
respawn.
fast paced.
Yeah.
so fast.
this
We
was
got-
when we realized the respawn time was way too long.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably why it was. It only took us like a few. Like after this point, basically, we had it. The match was just like over. The round was over.
Yeah, no, like basically, all you had to do was take out the power
Oh, this is the
classes,
start.
and then it was basically game over.
Yeah, at that point, like once this part, like this map started, I started to kind of focus that other heavy more rather than focus what was going on. Like because I started to realize it's more about like taking out that power pocket, and after that, it's just kind of like you advance. But I feel like definitely next time, if we were to do this map again, we should definitely tweak the spawn time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
So the command that I would have done was or max respawn time, like 0 or something. I don't know what it was, but basically it would set like manpower spawn times, which means that if you change class, you would instantly respawn. But if not, if you were sticking to your class, then it would be like 4 seconds. So, I mean, if you want
I
to change
feel like
class,
the max respawn time should have only been like 5, maybe 10 seconds.
I'd
at
say
the
around maybe like 6 or 7. 6 or 7 sounds around about right. Something like that. Or
Yeah.
8. Or maybe 8. I don't know.
So, we found out like there was a huge glaring problem with we kept on getting killed way too easily, and then they would just roll us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I thought it was unfair. I was just like, whoa.
I was kind of surprised because the first round, it went by so quickly and I was
Yeah,
so confused.
that was a
Like, we just kept pushing through, but then you guys...
Like, I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
look at this
wait
right
for they
here.
respawn, and then
I
by
think
the
at this
time we
point-
got to the point, I realized you guys still didn't respawn, and I'm like, wait a minute, what?
so basically
yeah, at
with
this point, I
one.
think it's around when you got 2 heavies.
like
around
at this point, like yeah, and at that point, it was game over there. So then, at this point, we were thinking, okay, we seriously need to change up our strategy here. So we actually decided to try using your high pass strategy against you, and we ended up going 2 heavy, 2 medic for this round.
Yeah. And it
What-
worked out pretty well.
Yeah, in the end, it worked out fairly well. So
Better than it did for us, to be honest. When we first
Two
did that,
guys.
it
I thought I
just
switched over to
just
Pyro
nearly
once.
immediately.
I remember when we did it, we kind of been like, wait, why are we doing this strategy again? It
Yeah.
doesn't seem to be working.
We didn't. I don't think we really realized we were even doing it. Like, we just kind of had 2 medics and 2 heavies, and we were just like, oh well, okay.
Oh yeah, I
I'm
remember.
trying to remember. I think it was either Snurf or Serb that was the other heavy. So I remember I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to switch to heavy because otherwise I'm just going to die way too easily.
Mhm.
And
And
then once I actually saw you do that, I actually switched back to Pyro.
Yeah.
I think, oh yeah, it was I'm trying to remember who was who.
Yeah, see, and there's the cap right there, but yeah, I think we just started having trouble capping again, and there was a bit more balance in this one. I think the fact that Team Relief was, or Team Crisis was just thrown back by the first one, I think you guys wisened up to it really quick. And I think that's what
Yeah.
extended
Yeah.
this round for as long as it did. In fact,
Yeah,
didn't you guys
yeah.
win this one? Or
Okay,
who?
let's wood.
Yeah, we ended up winning this one.
Yeah, okay.
They were able to push
Oh
back.
no, not this again. And then I was just like, you know what, screw it.
hmm
And I just jumped in and it ended up working out in the end.
It's how it feels to play heavy. You live for the moments where you could just say, fuck it.
As a heavy main, I agree.
And then, yeah, I'm trying to follow you
I
guys
mean,
that's
around. I
literally
capped,
what
Second
that's
to last
literally
point,
what
which is-
happened.
points are being capped so fast that like it's hard to track the action.
Like at
but-
some points during this, obviously.
So
you
this
can
is
tell-
actually one point where I
Yeah.
think I died. Yeah. Then I switched over to Pyro, and then I think from there we just kind of kept going.
Oh yeah. I think I die right here.
We tried capping the
Yep.
points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tried
think
recapping the
it
point,
worked.
but at that time we had killed off all of you, which gave us more than enough time to go and retake mid.
Hello. Good eye.
That's
the power of the flare gun.
So with the respawn times, what happened there was like, as soon as one team was just dying off a ton, that would send a domino effect of everyone else dying, and as soon as a team was dead, you'd have like, I don't know, like 15 seconds was the respawn time?
15
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
15, 20 seconds. Like there was some times where like it would be like around 15, and then there was one point where I think lag was on like a 20-minute wait time.
20-minute wait time? That's a long...
Or 20 seconds. Sorry,
Yeah.
my bad.
Yeah, see, I think
Yo,
that's what...
same.
I think
hate waiting 20 minutes to respond.
I think that's what really threw it, was that the fact that your lives become so valuable at that point, because if one person dies, it might create a domino effect, and then once the whole team is like stomped, then that just paves the way for the other team to just cap out before you guys respawn. So it's basically like
Yeah.
if one domino happens, it's basically a death match then if you think about it, because if one person dies and a domino effect is started,
yeah.
then you basically
So,
have
like,
a cap
what's-
out unless
what's
the
your
other
take
team can
your
do
point?
something about it.
We shall do so.
And
And
basically
then
this
the
last
last point.
point went about as well as it did the first time.
And the cool thing about when I was playing Pyro this time around is that I was like, oh, you're trying to stop us from capping the point, I'll just push you off.
You know, in all honesty, I feel like I did better as heavy than I did as demo man in this.
Yeah.
I think you did alright on. No, I think you did good on both, to be honest. But you got some good.
Any final
Goals on
thoughts?
demo.
Oh yeah. I'm not necessarily saying I did bad as demo. I'm just saying I feel like I did better as heavy.
Oh yeah. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts on 5CP before we get to the final round?
Most
feel
of respawn time.
Yeah,
Also
my
pretty
own,
okay.
Yeah, not too bad, but again.
Respawn
not
time?
bad, but like my only nitpick is the respawn time.
Yeah.
Well, everyone is saying it. It's not really a nitpick at this point.
And then there's Hellfire.
yes.
This
This
one
one's going to be interesting to track as
Oh.
well.
Boy.
Look, I thought it was going to be going absolutely hammering your guys' butt as knockout power, but as I quickly realized, yeah, if you shoot the guy, he die.
Okay, so
Yeah, so a little backstory thing with this. yesterday, Snurf and I were basically stomping casual with me going strength sniper and Snurf going knockout pyro. And it got to the point where like it was so bad to the point like the whole enemy team basically rage quit, and then our team slowly started getting auto balanced, so then they started rage quitting. And it got to the point where basically it was just Snurf and I in the casual game.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
remember, and
Well,
I wanted
just
to
going to-
join you guys, but I
so,
couldn't.
yeah, so we
just joined the
figured,
custom server after that.
yeah,
That means
so
like, well,
it was basically
arrow
like,
gun.
you know what? I might as well try it again if it works so well in a casual match. But then I quickly realized, wait, that was a casual match.
We're gonna do some
This
fast
is-
forwarding until we get to the real stuff, because I think this is the real deal.
Yeah. But
Wait,
this
why
match
am
we'll
I?
see that my ability to be knockout pyro was severely hindered by these fucking heavies.
Oh yeah, by the way, thank God we decided to outlaw Supernova.
Oh yeah, I deleted it right on the spot.
Supernova on this map would have been horrendous, dude. Oh, any
s-
map really,
Super-
any map.
Honestly,
Supernova's
Supernova
not-
in general has made me relatively annoyed, and I purely have Jam Point to blame for that.
Wait, what?
Hold on, I see you grab
He's taking-
Reflect, but not the
Yeah,
health
you're-
pack.
The amount of times
Did I
that
not grab the health
Jam
pack?
Point has jumped
Maybe you
in
did.
and Supernova'd me is...
Stop following me!
I'm just gonna follow the heavies around, if you guys don't mind, because they're kind of the centerpiece of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
They are the big fat.
I
guy.
mostly, at this point, I was mostly trying to go for, like, testing the waters and seeing what was going on in terms of defense, because I wanted to make sure we had something, like,
And then there's this
Oh,
guy.
maybe
Oh
this
yeah,
was.
it's me because I was like waiting for something. I don't
Oh, yeah,
remember what
this
I
is
was
the
waiting for.
intermission.
I think it was like it was still not a serious round.
Is it still
Yeah, it's
intermission?
still not a serious round.
Oh,
You didn't do
I
it
remember
correctly,
you standing
Chris.
right there. I think I jumped on your head at some point.
yeah, I think I
I
felt
was
you.
still scared at
I mean, I think
Oh yeah,
at
I remember
some
this.
point
This is still
I-
intermission.
I
Moving
think
my butt again.
at one point I ended up getting like one good headshot on Jam Point, but nothing too
Okay.
overly eventful happened on my
Remember,
end.
no
Nova. You remember, guys, no Nova.
And then it should say another CC about when you start.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Jam Point taught me how to use Sisei, so I'm gonna do that now.
Yeah. I'm a cool person. Yay!
See, sir.
Oh,
I think there's some voices.
Eh?
Yeah,
I don't even. Like, geez, we should save ticks because then you could just like go to the tick as you see him before.
Yeah, I didn't. I kind of forgot that we
Whoa.
had intermission before this, but that's fine. I mean, in
Yeah.
the edit realm, this part doesn't exist right now. If you know what I mean.
Slick.
Oh, cool.
Haha, I could take that word.
Yeah, I don't get what you mean.
When I'm editing this video, we can just cut to. Okay. Yeah, now I'm
Not
asking
really.
Crisis if they're ready.
Crisis,
I want
are
to edit
you
something
ready?
cool, really. I don't know if I want to
Hey,
edit
editors,
this.
sentence make
No,
me
I'm talking
say
about me
something really stupid.
editing this. No, don't worry.
Okay,
I'm gonna be
cool.
doing all the editing.
Oh, look, there's me.
I just mentioned you as an editor if
Very
you wanted
editing
to,
a burger
if you
here.
felt like it, but I'm doing the main editing and all that stuff. Oh yeah, I grabbed
You got the
Supernova,
You
and
did get Supernova, and you.
as you can
deleted
see
it
on the
from-
bottom, the SV cheats and all of that, that's me deleting it instantly.
Yeah,
So-
guys, Risk cheated the
Don't let-
tournament.
don't let
Yep, I
this.
cheated.
Oh,
I'm gonna follow Shulk around
there's
here.
me.
You cheated. How could you?
Yeah, most of the mentality here was just we wanted. I was thinking maybe have like one heavy go offense and then like one heavy stay back. But like here, I was kind of like, I don't know. I was trying to test the waters, I guess, and try and see what you guys were gonna do.
And
Like the other
that's how I
team.
got behind ya.
We got our strat down though because we kind of figured out that I would be the main capper, I guess. I don't know if you guys were thinking
Yeah,
that, but
yeah.
I saw myself as
Yeah.
like, since I'm the spy, I should be the one trying to cap.
It worked out really
Yeah.
well. It worked out really well because every time we had them pushing us, you instantly went for it. You got it every time they grabbed it, so that was really good.
hmm
You managed to
Yeah.
get some really good grabs there.
Basically,
Oh, and there you go. That's one.
as the spy, I was reliable for picking up the intelligence. And there's
Yeah.
there's supposed to be a medic right next to him.
Now, I did have one question during all of this. I was wondering, was magic capping ever allowed?
Well, I mean,
No, it's
this is competitive, so basically anything goes.
Anything
but
goes except for Nova. That was our thing.
Yeah,
I
but in
mentioned
a
it when I said-
casual match, it's sort of like an unspoken rule that you
Yeah.
cap with agility. But I mean, I figured, I mean, it's
It's competitive. It doesn't really matter if it's comp. I feel
mean-
like in casual it makes sense because people want to continue and have it continuously go. But this is about winning the round. It's kind of like
Yeah, exactly. Like,
So I guess
just
it's
wanna-
more of a strategy that you can use because I
Yeah,
didn't want to touch agility. I think
They-
only like one time I grabbed
you're not
the
gonna
intel with
get you're not gonna get like
until
disbanded
like
by your
fucking
team.
Nerf grappled on.
Oh yeah,
basically, the way I
was,
the way I viewed it was basically like in a certain like other esports, like say for example Smash Bros, where it's like you don't see people banning the use of top tier characters, so why would this be any different?
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Like,
my thing for
if it
agility
ain't
was
broke,
like,
don't
as long
fix
as people were prepared for it, it's not that different from capping without a power up. It's not extremely noticeably different. It's just that you still move fast on the ground, but you can't
Yeah.
grapple with agility.
But that's the thing.
speed.
It's competitive, so you just kind of have to be prepared for that. And there's always going to be someone, so you have to be like it's about getting that cap. So you have to be ready on defense and offense. I don't like, you know.
I gotta do the draw HUD thing. Boop. There we go. Okay. Oh yeah.
There I go.
There goes Snurf.
Oh yeah, there's the set.
Surf
then,
was
yeah.
such a nuisance this round. Oh my god.
Snurf, you were a nuisance.
I sure hope so.
Please do not record any of the parts where I died. Do not. Oh my god. Wait. I know a part I don't like.
Technically, that would
No.
be.
No. Surf, you know what I'm talking about, right? You know that part that I'm talking about where you meleeed me and I may or may not have jumped into a hazardous material.
Oh, I did that too as heavy ones.
That-
It was like at the
Wait,
end when I was
I
going
don't
heavy.
actually remember if I did that to you or something.
Yeah.
You hit me with knockout, and instead of grappling up, I misclicked, and then I fell into the lava and killed myself because I was 5 HP.
Oh yeah.
And then you
Like, I noticed that I was like behind you guys, just being a little knucklehead. Then you were all like, I'm gonna kill this guy. Then I slapped you, you fell into the lava, and I was expecting you to come out, but you didn't, and you just sort of died.
yeah.
Like,
here
I
was
have
kinda
that fully on
defending.
tape.
I hope you don't. Please
Jeez.
delete that. Please delete
There's two,
Are we
there's
going
two
to?
downloads.
Are we going to embarrass him now? Gee.
I mean, I actually have
Elliot,
my
whoever
demo
sees
files
this,
in the actual
Elliot,
chat, so if you
Oh
want to
my
look
god,
at it, you can.
absolutely.
gosh.
We have to humiliate him in every way we
She'll,
possibly.
Elliot, she'll fucking
Chris,
divorce
did you
me.
get the
Dude.
demo
Elliot's
files
gonna
I sent in the
divorce me.
chat? Thanks.
Oh.
What the fuck is happening?
The
I
world
think the
is
windows
glitching
are-
because of my embarrassment.
Just don't
The
look
world
out
is
the
angry at
window.
me.
Everything will be a-okay.
The windows are a little glitched.
For
but
some
that's okay.
reason, Windows and demos
The,
don't
the
exactly.
windows are literally going to shit.
Oh snap! Someone got the grapple on him.
Oh, jeez.
Oh yeah, I remember this, and then I had to go
Oh,
and
I
cap.
shot him back down. I just.
And see,
I
this
just
was
backed him back down.
this was good because as a spy, I could choose when to die, or I mean, I could choose when
You
not
could
to
choose when
I
to
get to
die.
choose
I
when
can-
to die. You don't get to decide for me.
die. As a spy, I realized that I could avoid fights whenever I wanted. Basically, I could pick my fights, so I was able to come in there for the rush save, and I
Yeah, I feel
Took
like
the intel and capped
basically
that one
any
there.
sort of mobile class and spy has that freedom. Like, more notably,
Okay, so yeah, that was me that
Scout.
died there.
Wait,
You didn't see me because it was
that blue
invisible.
just disappeared.
A lot of things disappear. You were invisible earlier,
Yeah.
Sam.
This demo is so weird.
Also throwing power-ups, and he was trading power-ups with a literal ghost, dude. Like,
Literally ghosting.
So, just for the viewers to hear, I want to hear you guys' opinions on like these CTF maps with power-ups, because this is the first and only match this time that we had power-ups in it. Like, you'll see that there's all these power-ups in here. Like, he's got haste right
This
now.
is the embarrassing part.
So, what do you guys? Oh, really?
Okay,
think
we need
so.
to get this in excruciating detail.
Yeah, we gotta get this in detail.
I don't think
I
I
honestly
actually feel
think
at all
it
because you
works
weren't on the other
more
side of the
in-
map. So Hold on. No, there's a spy there.
I just think it works more with a 12v12, not a 6.
Yeah,
Five.
in the 66 situation, it just didn't like.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a real competitive match. Like it was too small,
Oh,
and like
I'm over
power
there.
ups didn't work there. You know, like in a 12v12, as she said, like that would work a lot better for power ups in CTF. But like here in a 6v6 or a 5v5, I just feel like it just didn't feel right. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I get fucked right here because
And
Uber.
and especially considering it's competitive, right? Like with power-ups, I feel like power-ups just don't work in terms of a skill-based tournament kind of thing, where it should be about the player's ability to, work with what they have rather than just, RNG, whatever you get from spawn, go wild,
In fact,
Yeah.
okay, we'll just go down the list and have everyone's opinion on power-ups in the competitive scene. So let's start off with Jampoint. What are your opinions on power-ups in the competitive scene?
Well, when you have the correct amount of people, then yeah, it can totally work out and be really epic. Because, I mean, that's kind of the whole premise of this thing. It's like, oh, we could put power-ups and have it be a competitive scene. Well, but again, it doesn't work when there's just so many little people. Just so little.
Mm-hmm. Sylvian, what's your opinions on power-ups?
Honestly, like, circumstances being as they were, it was a mess. Like, it got to the point where every single battle was solely reliant on those power-ups, and it just, when it gets to that point where that's the deciding factor and not one's own skill, it just starts to become unfair, especially when it comes to heavies, which for some reason they decided that, oh, heavy's overpowered in competitive, heavy's overpowered in manpower, and guess what happens when you put the two together?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a major imbalance when the power-ups are involved.
Yeah, I agree completely. I was playing heavy there, and whenever I had power-ups like that, like even when I had haste there, like I have now, and it felt like really imbalanced, especially considering I was using Brass Beast.
And you had a medic with King,
Yeah,
which is a really
that's-
deadly combo.
Yeah, especially with that, it just
But trying to
felt
go
like,
up against that
you
is
know.
really hard, even in casual.
It is. Whenever I play with that, whenever I'm playing actual manpower in a casual, it's really hard to die. And any other player, like I forget who was doing this. I think it was Lagsby and someone else. They got like a 40 kill streak in a matter of minutes, or like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
By spawn camping like that. It was, yeah. It can be
just realized
really imbalanced.
that your loadout, I think that's yours, Cole. It's
Which one?
King Hardican from like the Zelda CDI series, isn't it?
It's just a king, but yeah.
But that's
I
what it
think-
reminded me of.
Yeah,
One
now that you mention it,
wants
yeah, you're right.
for dinner.
My boy. This piece is
My
what
boy.
Glorious Strider.
Okay, so moving on. Snurfrail, did you go on the manpower stuff? Did you have your turn?
No. But here's basically my gist. Power-ups for competitive? Nah. Just nah.
I'm feeling the same way, to be honest.
And
Like, it's strictly a casual element.
Mm-hmm.
Because the mere notion of a power-up is designed to give, players some sort of statistical advantage, and
Yeah, I kind of have
It
a
helps,
similar view on
like,
it.
lesser skilled players be good at the game.
it's supposed to be like a mess around kind of thing, right? Like where it's more like casual messing around. It's like, hey, what can I do with this
Yeah.
loadout? And if I have like, let's say, what am I gonna do with the sun on a stick and knockout? Like whatever combo you want to do, like king and all that. It's more of a mess around thing. It just doesn't fit in competitive. It's just
Slap people senseless.
not for what was going on for us here.
Not the
So
fact that
probably
it's
no.
actually not the fact that a single power-up, if used correctly, can be used to take on an entire group of people.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's
Yeah, like-
you can.
Any sort of high damage output class like soldier, heavy, or demo man, or even sniper with strength is an absolute monster
Mm-hmm.
to deal with.
Revive
I-
Sniper can actually hit these shots.
Agility, spy too. If you ever play against Risk and casual manpower, you know. I'll
You know what's up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Agi Spy agility really maximizes the spy's capabilities because of mobility. Like with the grapple, the spy already becomes a glass cannon, and if you add agility into the mix, he's just like 5 times more powerful.
He's Sonic the Hedgehog.
Surprisingly, I didn't go
That's
for the
fast.
Agi Spy that much though. I was just focusing on. I wasn't really focusing on power ups so much as being
Well,
where
that's
I needed
because
to
we
be.
know what your bullshit is like, so we knew how to deal with
We're,
that. Or at least I
we're
did.
used to your Agi Spy at this point, so
Yeah, I was
Like-
kind of not.
like-
I wasn't
Risk,
relying on my
you should know
trickiness.
from first-hand experience that I know how to deal with your spy shenanigans fairly well.
You know how to grapple onto me when you can see me. But yes, you guys have grown wise to me, and I took account for that.
Just keep your
Um,
distance, keep him off the ground, and, you know, make him die.
I personally found
Pretty
Spy to
much.
be.
Yeah, that's also another thing I want to talk about with the grapple hooks is that if you can stay airborne for as long as you possibly can, there really isn't anything that projectile characters can do against you.
Yeah, that's how
That's the issue with the Brass Beast, dude. Like I was running Brass Beast mainly because I was taking advantage of if you've been watching me throughout this, I've been constantly grappling mainly because of the slow speed. If you constantly grapple Brass Beast, you are not going to be able to be stopped very easily. There's no way a projectile is going to take you out that easily with that, because you can constantly hop around like that. And the deploy midair, because you can still deploy midair.
Yeah, it's kind of like as sniper if you don't
It's
jump.
like jump
before-
revving, but on crack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It basically.
Yeah, I found out that
That's why Heavy gets so good in this game.
yeah, the way that
Jump Rev Simulator 2019 right up in here.
counter.
Oh yeah, this point where I finally got strength and then lost it almost immediately to whatever. I honestly forget how I died here.
Okay. The way that I counter Precision Soldier in both casual and in this match, I kind of did that a bit, I think, was just grappling around and not sticking to walls at all. Like, if you hold your strafe while grappling, you can stay away from walls while still getting air time, so that's what
Yeah.
that's what I do to that's what I do to...
I sometimes have to do that when I pursue enemies. Like, I'll have to, like, dodge walls so that way I don't, like, you know, get peeled off.
Yeah. That's what I do to counter, the splash.
Oh, this is it.
This is it?
Oh, yeah, I think this is the part.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cole's, like...
No,
Whatever. Okay,
no,
so I'm over
not this.
Actually, it may not even show up on your end properly because Risk wasn't anywhere near when that actually happened.
Yeah, I think
so
this is all
we're probably
based on
just gonna
my
get-
current positioning in the game.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
so mostly this is just going to be footage of you, like, attacking an invisible guy.
Yeah,
Like we're
Everything's turning invisible. I have no idea what's going.
this is like Infinity War all over again. Jeez. Turning into-
But I mean, if you actually want to look at that
I have
footage
no
of me,
idea
like,
what's
fucking him
going
up,
on.
then I have my demos, like,
Oh,
down
yes.
there. You
Please,
can Risk.
you'll have to show that to us at some point.
I mean, if you want, I can, like, after you're, like, doing the dumb streaming thing, like, I can either screenshot or you can look at my demos that I've sent you.
we're just recording this. This isn't streaming. We're just making recordings for like an aftermath commentary.
You know what I meant.
Yeah.
Streaming,
Frostbite
recording,
Day.
almost-
Did we get your like full on turn to talk about power ups, or have you already done that?
No, you already did it.
Frostbite,
Right.
Oh
did
yeah,
you
at
say
this
what you
point I
want?
figured I knew
Uh-oh.
I'm probably not going to survive against you with strength, so I just said screw it and grappled onto you with plague, and it ended up working out in that one instance.
Oh,
Wow,
that one
Snarf,
was
you
actually
were
pretty
taking
darn
them
impressive.
down.
Well,
What, me-
basically,
Me just
yeah. Oh,
making
I
a
think this was the
suicide
end.
play.
No, this might be the part. No, no.
Oh, that's
To
fun.
block it off. It blocked it off. Yes, that was the part.
You're
Block it
spared
out,
for
X it
now.
out. Redacted.
Redacted.
Oh,
Maybe if I do the next one in Spectator, we'll be able to have like a good old demo to actually watch or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, this is where I tried to sneak a sentry into your guys' base that got shut down like right away.
Yeah, I
failed.
think I caught wind of that relatively quickly, and I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not letting that
From
happen.
what I saw, to be honest, especially here, it's like really hard to actually get set up, like really like as NG. Like I don't know. I
NG
just
is
feel like it'd
basically
be-
nullified in this mode, other than teleporter.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't
Because-
know. There have been a few moments where I've been able to rack a pretty good NG. You have to
Basically,
play like Battle
any
Engineer
any character
Yeah.
that's got like strength or reflect, it's just gonna destroy
Yeah,
the
especially if you're not
sentry.
using Gunslinger, because if you're building like a level 1 sentry and then a strength heavy comes in with his pocket girlfriend, you're gonna get like, you know,
You're gonna have a bad time.
Hmm.
pretty much.
You're gonna have a bad Tom.
My honest opinion on engineer for here, what I learned is that if you're not running the gunslinger, like that's a different thing. But if you're running a regular wrench with like a regular sentry, all that NG's good for is like the teleporter and surprising the team with a sentry. But as soon as they know it, it's done. Like don't
Yeah,
even,
especially with the
don't even
power,
try to
the
heal
strength
it.
soldier is gonna take it out so quickly. You have to, like, mini sentries are really,
Unless
they
you and
can
your
be
team are
useful to
just
be honest.
bomb and like holding a single point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, especially because I was being aggressive with my sentry placement when I was an engineer. So like I was setting up right in this room over here, and I think this is where you guys destroyed it actually. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, like the moment that I find out that there's a sentry or any sort of buildings nearby,
Yeah.
I always make it my absolute top priority to get rid of it. Like
I
I
put
saw
my
that there was
teleport
this
right
teleporter up here, and I was like, "Oh, god damn it! They seriously put up a telly." So I had to go all the way around the long way just to deal with that one stupid teleporter.
Yeah, I was being a little sneaky here. But as you can see with the sentry, it didn't really hold out that well. Especially if it's aggressive, people will just know how to use their spawn uber, and that basically is just GG for the sentry. It doesn't even matter because I had haste with the rescue
Yeah, because the
ranger, and not
sentry's
even that
right
helps.
there, and I think in approximately 15 seconds, oh no, not even that, because like I just,
Boom! Like see that right there? Just done.
yeah.
Couldn't
Yeah,
even take
that
out the
was just
capper. Couldn't even
instantly
take out the
gone.
capper. So
So then I just rush you down in here, and then I realize, oh boy, they have a telly.
hmm So yeah,
Granted, it's
you go.
Like, it's not difficult to take it down. Like, I'm able to get over there and destroy it, but it's still something that I have to go out of my way to destroy when I could be doing other things like trying to defend the intel.
hmm Engineer is basically obsolete aside from teleporters and like using the sentry as a surprise method. But as soon as the
Yeah.
team knows about it, it's useless. So like sentries
Pretty
could get
much.
like sentries. I feel like would be good for holding a position when you're capping. Like that was an idea I was trying to bring up. Was I didn't actually do it myself, but I probably should have as NG. Was setting up the sentry at mid. Or maybe I did try
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I did try that once here, but then I gave up on that idea because I knew you guys would just come in and destroy it. But yeah, like setting up if you time a sentry at mid and then start capping, you could take over mid and then they can't really cross mid without that sentry being there. I don't know. I've seen
Unless
it.
they go underneath or sideways.
I'll be honest. Okay, so I used to main NG before I main Spy and Manpower. That was like my first main back when I was a noob. I would main Engineer, not calling out NG mains or anything, but NG was
But
my
he's
first
totally
main.
calling out NG.
Oh, they are a very
Lol.
good sentry, man.
Engineer was my first main, and what I found was useful was like holding down mid, especially when I wanted to cap. It was like I found it a lot easier of a time to cap if mid was held down. You guys know what I mean, right? Like a team
Yeah.
has mid down and they're guarding it. Then all you have to do is
Like-
cross mid, and then you're good to cap.
Like, if you can take mid and hold it, that's a very, very strong advantage that you can have on this map in particular. I feel like it's not really as big of a deal on other maps, like say Thunder Mountain, but definitely in this map it's crucial.
Well, it wouldn't directly be like the very center of mid, but like either offset closer to red or blue, because there are the 3 different paths that you can take. So if you're guarding at least one of the upper, center, or lower paths, then the other 2 ones are free, so you can still kind of like slip through. But if you go where for like basically the front gate of like where both blue and red are, you hold that, they're not getting through.
Mm-hmm. I didn't even go for thoughts on manpower in general, or the power-ups. Okay, so my overall thoughts on these power-ups, I'm gonna go with like Snurfoil and Frostbite on this. Just no to the power-ups in the competitive field. Like,
To be honest, I think there may have been a point where power-ups weren't actually a thing in Manpower back when it was still in beta. Like, to be honest, I'm not sure why they needed to be there, other than the fact that they're just an old relic of like back when this was 3-way CTF.
well, power-ups are cool and casual because it's casual, but this is the competitive
Yeah.
scene, and it definitely threw the game to RNG basically, and whoever actually
Yeah,
went
like-
heavy.
Yeah.
To the point where here, like, I ended up having to go scout just to try and take the intel from you guys.
Oh yeah,
But-
I remember that. Yeah.
But then, the pyro, I forget who your pyro was at this point. So, like, I ended up getting screwed over by the pyro twice, actually, because I ended up going all the way back to your base and then taking the intel a second time. But unfortunately, that time around, the pyro just shut me down immediately, and after that, it was game over.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna put it on my point of view for now because I'm heavy,
Yeah. Oh, there I go.
and it's easier to do it like that because
Yeah. You're just going around and it has
people are
been a little
disappearing
weird.
too much. Oh yeah, there's my mess up
Yeah.
right there.
Definitely. I am literally like lost. I have no idea what's going on, and I think this is why next time we need to get all people to record their point of view.
You could do
then we
like
don't have to
could
deal
get
with
a
this
plugin. We could get a plugin instead that like records it for us if that's possible. I forget what
Yeah, we
program's
could.
called.
Yeah, there-
place.
There I am running
That
around.
was a
I'm
built-in feature
Or
of
we
the
can
game.
enable like those record things on the server. I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I mean.
We'll
Like
try
the
to figure out
replays
something
stuff.
for next week.
Oh yeah, it was Shulk who was the pyro.
Oh,
So I
I'm
figured-
healing you.
Okay, I think at this point he's probably gone now, so I thought it was safe for me to take the intel. Boy, was I ever wrong.
Oh yeah, around
Alright.
this point I was like asking about when we were going to finish because
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because someone had to go. Was it you had to go or someone else?
No, it was like he had to go, but it was a good
Yeah,
time.
well,
anyways.
somebody was like trying to tell me something, and actually it turned out somebody just wanted me to delete a comment off of YouTube because they were having some worries about. Oh, Rick wins. I remember I said it's Team Chris versus Rick. I remember exactly.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, it's a good idea. We should do that this time.
Do what this time?
Chris versus Rick.
Yes, Team Chris versus Rick. Because somebody said Team Chris, and I was like, haha, Team Rick.
Mm. Yeah, that's funny.
Chris Brown.
That
You know,
is-
honestly, I feel like hopefully next time around we could get it so like if we have more people there, so then one person could just go into spectator mode.
Mm-hmm. So, this is the end of
Yeah.
the match. So we just had one match of Manpower, and that is the official end of tournament night number 2. I'd say
Team
this
Rick
one.
ended up taking away the victory.
You know what
there.
they always say about doing number 2?
Well,
Like, this one was definitely 100 times better than
Absolutely.
last.
That's where champions are born.
Agreed, 100%.
this was
Yeah, like-
a success, to say the least.
Like overall, it was
Better
successful.
than the last one, that's for sure.
So I would say there's still much room for improvement.
Yeah, it's definitely like we're taking a step in the right direction. I'd say it's
Yeah.
definitely up from the first time where we had a lot worse things
Mhm.
to deal with. Now we actually got through. where we can actually see what's going on, and we're getting input from
Yeah,
everyone.
and we all know now that we will never touch the power-ups anytime soon.
We're
Until
learning
we get
faster
enough
than
players.
Yeah.
Yay!
Basically, we learned a lot from last week, and that really helped us forge a good tournament night this week. I'd say it was a success. So we'll go down the list and just have viewpoints on. We'll just have viewpoints on the whole tournament night in of itself. We'll go down the list. So we'll start with you, Jam Point. What are your overall thoughts about tournament night number 2?
Honestly, again, huge improvement from last tournament night. Now, there was a few things that I was concerned about, and it was pretty much, of course, with the whole hype thing causing less plan, because we kind of went into this tournament night not really knowing what was going to happen. It's kind of how we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also one thing that I found too, is like, it was a lot less coordinated and planned out than the last one, because like the first time around, like we had went through like at least like 30 to 60 minutes prior just to make sure that we had this whole intricate plan planned out. Meanwhile, this time around, we had basically no game plan going into it at all. But overall, I feel like this was a huge success in terms of just getting it to work at all, because at the very least, we managed to get through the entire thing this time.
Yeah.
As a contrary to what
Without
happened
people getting
last
too
time.
upset.
Yeah.
But it's only because we had like, good people on like both sides of the teams instead of like, angry people
Yeah.
that joined in.
When we got the swing of things, it was way less stressful. Like Jam and I could tell we were both happy on how this was
I mean,
turning
I just
out.
kind of treated it like a regular casual game. It's just the only difference is I know that I'm going to be playing it against like, good players.
Mhm.
Which is
Yeah,
all ultimately
that's
what I want.
essentially.
That's all I want,
that's-
baby.
So,
Play
trying
against
to
people
think
that
of-
actually have functioning keyboards and mice.
there's another thing I'm trying to remember here that was important. Oh, right. Another thing we found is that it's a lot better, at the very least, with the amount of players we had, that there were no power-ups at all. So, it was basically we found out the most important part of this is that no power-ups are good power-ups, basically, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, vanilla mode is way better, and it's honestly really fun. Like, in the back of my head, I was thinking that it might not be as fun for us manpower players, but it's actually really balanced and like really fun. Even as Spy, like Spy's still really useful. Maybe not. Well, actually, yeah, Spy does have his roles in this manpower match. I just found Heavy a lot more useful.
You can see me in that corner there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like in the Koth maps, I found that Spy was really useful actually. So even without power-ups.
Usually, I've found, like, just playing casual Spy in general, like, the maps I find myself doing best on are Koth, so I can't really say I'm too surprised that Spy did well, but that's just my take on it.
Mm-hmm. Jam Points, are there any extra thoughts that you have before we like officially move on to the next one?
I'm trying to think, because I think there was like something else I said I was going to say, and I got a little bit sidetracked. Well, of course, we do have to maybe make the line a little bit more clear about if it's competitive or fun, or if it's both, which we said it was going to be both, but there were times where I was trying to do some planning, and, well, pretty much it didn't work out, because people were saying I was taking it too seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was kind of like people didn't understand that when we say, competitive and fun, it's not necessarily just like, oh, it's like a silly, like, casual match. It's more about, like, obviously we're gonna have fun. It's not a try-hard, like, oh, screw you, Lenny Bind, ha 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 ha, wreck, salto meter 100% kind of thing. But, like, it's mostly just about having fun and, I don't know. I feel like
It's just a
most
game
of it
format.
is just, a lot of the things that I see from this was mostly just player based. Like, we had a lot of players. Like, even the first one, mostly the problems were based around the players, to be completely honest. But it wasn't really like anyone's fault themselves. It was just mostly like organization. But I think this time, organization was a lot better. We quickly figured stuff out rather than everyone getting upset and leaving. It was just a lot better, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, that was definitely one thing I wanted to. I think it was how I'll say communication between the two teams. Like there seems to be some sort of issue between it. Like it takes a minute or two before they realize, hey, wait a minute, something's not right. Like this time, it took me to leave the game and go on
I
the
had to
stream
say
to tell you, Risk, that hey, something's not right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
like,
that was the
stop
biggest problem because like because we were trying to say that something was wrong and then no one really said anything. So she had to leave and I said Risk a few times. I don't blame you. Stuff was going on, but like it's mostly just I feel like communication is key in this, and we just need to work on that. I guess and be more.
I'd expect nothing less from a traitor.
Well, I found out what was the issue there. It was on me. I was being trigger happy and kind of starting it when I assumed everyone was ready. So definitely for next time, I'm gonna ask if both teams are ready, and only when they ready up, we start.
Yeah.
And like
I'm
the
not
teams
gonna
have
lie,
to actually say that they're ready.
It just kind of felt like at the start, to be honest, I wasn't feeling it that much. Like at first, I thought it was gonna be kind of like the last one a little bit.
Yeah.
To be honest,
It kind of seemed like that.
vibes. Like I was getting those vibes when people weren't showing up.
Me
and
too.
We had random players, and everyone was kind of getting like left.
Password protection. It should be relatively simple.
But
We'll get that.
overall, it turned out a lot better than I originally expected it to, and that's really good. We did really well with this one. We got
Yeah,
through.
let's just hope that next time, because of how well it went this time, that maybe we might get a better show out. If that, is that the right
definitely.
word for it?
Yeah, show up. Yeah.
Now that we know that it theoretically like works because we've proven that like this kind of stuff works, we can fancy it up.
This is a test run, really. Like this isn't like it's set in stone. This is mostly like the starting point of it. This isn't just it's mostly just like tweaking stuff and seeing what everyone is comfortable with, and yeah.
So we'll move on to Sylvian just for final thoughts. Jam Point, if you have any extra thoughts, just pop them in. But
yeah, I mean, I have a lot of things that we could definitely improve, but I mean, then this like whole thing would still continue on and be hours or whatever. So yeah, go on to Sylvian.
Okay, Sylvian.
Alright, so overall I feel like while this was a successful run, I feel like it was far from perfect by any means. Mainly because our focus was more so on just getting people to just show up at all, and I feel like we spent too much time focusing on that specific thing, and we didn't really get any sort of coordination whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was just sort of like, okay, we're here, alright, cool, let's just jump right into it. Like, we're not Scott, we can't just jump right into it like that. We gotta stop and think about it for a minute.
Yeah. Well.
And-
sorry.
Yeah, that's basically my overview on it, as well as like power-ups. I love them, but it's not meant for competitive. It's just, I don't think it's ever going to work, in all honesty. So yeah, that's my final thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, Snurfoil, did you see that? You grappled onto me.
Was I supposed to look at something? I was looking up how to fix a couple of the problems like that our server actually has. But what's up?
I'm just gonna go back a little bit. Anyways,
Alright.
I mean, this is just the background. I'm not really
I
focusing on
was
this
just trying to
anyways.
look up how to set your server's password and a couple of us.
Yeah, I
stuff.
feel like that was also kind of a thing where we
Yeah.
got confused because a lot of random people were joining, and I think we mentioned last time and a few times in between the games, not in between these games, but sometimes password protecting the server.
It's actually really easy to do. You know what a server.config is, right?
Yeah, I think we did a command like that. We'll work on that after this though.
But it's like an actual
Yeah.
like file that's installed with the server data that you actually have to write in.
I know. I've been on that file. It's the server casuals. I can name it. It's casual dash server config, or I think that's what it's called. I know what it is.
I think so. Well, yeah. Although it should be just simply named like server.config, and it's inside of /tf2/config, and it reads that specific name.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm talking about a different file. So we'll look into it later. Just someone like write that down as something that we need to work on as the password. Someone write that down. I kind of lost my train of thought. Sylvian, what were you first talking about? Oh yeah.
I'm sorry. What was that?
I'm trying to.
It was a lot of things.
Yeah.
Really?
Before you
I'll
were
show
talking
what
about
the heck I'm
power
talking
ups.
about later, Risk.
Yeah.
Before I was talking about power-ups, it was
Oh yes. Precious.
Oh. Oh wow. You were still looking at me when that happened.
Yeah,
I
that
think it
was my
like
point
the
of view on that.
lack of
I think I may have spun around
coordination that
accidentally.
we
Oh,
had
yeah,
that
yeah,
I was
yeah.
talking about.
Okay, so I just wanted to make a little addition to that. Technically, we were doing what we were supposed to be doing since last week. Like last week, obviously, like the whole thing was shut down because we didn't have enough players. So that was my main focus. That was like my top priority for this week, was just getting players on. That was all I was worried about. That's why I wasn't doing a whole lot of communication with the actual strategy, was because I was just focused on getting all the players in, which was good on paper. It was good on paper because then that solves one of our It was focusing on one of our biggest issues, was making sure that people were here, and we did get people here, even though we did still have a hiccup. That's what I was focusing on though, but I do agree, focusing on getting players here made no room for actually coordinating and all of that, so it was a sacrificial move, and I do agree that next week we need to focus on multiple things, like getting players on, but also coordinating and communicating. And like that's one of the things that gives hype to the server, is actually strategizing. You know, like you guys, I'm sure you guys would like to add in your own 2 cents on certain maps and how to play them, and like, you know, I can do this as this class and all of that. I think that's one of the things that made the hype real, was that we
That's one of the, honestly, that's one of the, I consider that one of the most fun parts of actually doing tournaments and stuff like that, like actually being with the team and strategizing and stuff and coming up with a plan and seeing it all work out and like setting it all up. That's really fun to do. And I agree that it was a sacrificial move, but like this week, I feel like it was kind of necessary since the morale was so low because of the last time. But the good news with this one is that everyone seemed to actually have a lot of fun with this one. So maybe now we can focus way more on, you know, strategizing and getting all this stuff set up, because people are now thinking, you know, we have something here.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, not nearly as bad.
And the best part is that we've got recordings and stuff. So think about the future. We could start sending off some edited videos to people and start like, I could make up a trailer for like the competitive manpower and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of potential for this.
Demo files. You can render everything on your fancy PC.
Yeah, I mean, I
do
can
Or somebody else's.
I can launch up Premiere
do
Pro
feel
and
like,
do some editing.
Starting with just like doing vanilla maps, like more specifically King of the Hill with
Yes.
with grapple hooks, I feel like that's a huge step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because that was honestly probably the most fun I've had with
Manpower, yeah.
yeah.
That was fun.
That was a ton of fun. Like I honestly, for the past while, I have been a little annoyed with Manpower. Like I've been taking a little break. Like I've been kind of like, this is getting kind of repetitive. But with the cough and like the no power ups, like it felt really fresh to me. You know, like it felt like it was just it would seem kind of like bad for players who have been playing with power ups for so long, but it turns out to be so fun. And
It was really a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
it really was like something brand new for you to try, and it works perfectly in my opinion. Like it's just a really good mix.
Yeah, I have the completely same opinions on that. it worked way better than. I mean, I already had a decent expectation because I knew that vanilla mode was generally fun, but it blew my expectations on how fun it actually was. So Sylvian, is that all your thoughts for now?
Yeah, that's all my thoughts.
Okay, we'll move on to Snurfoil then on his overall thoughts.
It was good. I didn't think this one through.
We can, you can pass it up for now if you want.
It was a good idea. Yeah, basically what he said.
I'm just gonna load back to the first.
But also,
matches.
you brought up earlier the idea. Someone brought up the idea of player destruction in Manpower, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because
I mean,
yeah.
player
That was a
destruction
game mode
is basically
that
a
only
mix
existed on
of,
Halloween maps.
it's basically a mix of King of the Hill and Capture the Flag, but basically I think the way that most people like to view it is that it's just basically Capture the Flag but better in almost every single aspect.
Or
Yeah.
like capture the people.
It's quite literally team deathmatch.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's fast forwarding like this. Anywho though, so Frostbite, let's move on to you. What are your overall thoughts on everything?
Overall, I think that definitely, power-ups are a no for me. But everything in today, for me, was a really good fresh breath of air. I felt like things went a lot smoother than I originally thought they were going to be. And this is actually, I think this is, with how things went today, I think that there is potential. And we can get a lot more players to join in. Because, the last week may have went bad, but there were things that were wrong, and I think that everyone who organized this went into, they did what they could, and we're here now. We definitely still have things to improve on. Don't get me wrong, like power-ups and, balancing, blah, blah, blah. I think the next step for us would be, getting more players and listening to more input, because it seems like people are now, they have a better view of it, and a lot of people seem to be happy with, the performance tonight, I think.
Yeah, exactly. The demos are kind of being a little weird, so let's just focus on the conversation for now. Like, while I'm editing this video, I'll just pan over to a image. I won't have this gameplay going on when it's bugged out. Anyways, so I guess I can say my thoughts. Were you finished up, Frostbite? Frostbite, were you all finished up with your overall stuff?
Frostbite, if you're done,
Mhm.
I don't know. I think he muted himself randomly.
Oh, Sam. Okay.
Ooh.
I was just asking if you were done with your spiel.
My internet was being a little weird. It kind of stopped. But yeah, pretty much. Other than that, not much else to say about it. Overall, I'm just impressed. I'm impressed with how far we've come with it so far. Definitely improvements to be made, but I think with the right, attitude towards it, I think, as a community, with even as small as the Manpower community may be, we can make something out of this.
Yeah.
And it can be something big.
I don't know why demo's being weird.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna keep.
usually it only that weird fast forwarding behavior that normally happens when you go into a demo file and you specify what tick you want it to start on.
Oh, that's
But
weird.
I don't know why it's just constantly going. I don't know. I think DF2 might be bugged. You may want to reset it.
I'll put down. Yeah, I'll just restart. TF2. Yeah, that's a good idea. As I finally put my last thoughts into the bowl. So my thoughts on the
salad
tournament
bowl.
overall, I'd consider this a success. Okay, sorry, I was just typing to a player. Anyways, I'd consider this an overall success.
Blessing.
I will be honest, at the start, I was really worried, especially when we weren't getting as many players as we wanted to. It was fun, but again, let's not forget that this was supposed to be a 6v6 match, and we had to settle for a 5v5, which wasn't actually that bad at all.
Actually, I think it went really well for what it was. Even with how it went, the start, it turned out pretty well.
Yeah,
Didn't
absolutely.
go that bad.
I mean, to be honest, I don't know how a 4v4 match would go on, but seeing how this was, I'd say we could do a 4v4 sometime. Maybe that'll be like a special theme of 1 week. It's just like a special 4v4.
We'll call it Overwatch.
Yeah.
Because
something
in
like
like deathmatch on Overwatch, it's 4v4.
Yeah. No, I think it's 3v3 in deathmatch. 3v3.
Team deathmatch is 4v4, but an actual like free for all.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
3v3 is the eliminations.
Oh,
Whereas
yeah,
guys
that's
are just
elimination. That's
permanent.
elimination. Yeah.